Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to our Academic Connect for the School of Business at Azusa Pacific University. We are so thankful and excited that you guys are here, and I'm thrilled to be able to introduce some of our amazing faculty, staff, and students that we have here at Azusa Pacific University that are in the School of Business. And so my name is Lucille Flores. I'm an admissions counselor at APU in Undergraduate Admissions, and I am looking forward to being able to share the next hour with you all. And so what we'll do, we'll go ahead and introduce who we have with us. So we're going to go ahead and begin with Dr. Ron Joo. If you can go ahead and give us a little bit of an introduction of who you are.
Thanks, Lucille. Hey, thank you, students, for showing up tonight. We're really glad you're here, and we're excited that you're interested in the School of Business. I'm Dr. Ron Joo. I've been at APU for 20 years. 4 of my kids have graduated as business majors, and I can tell you this is an exciting place to be. I'm a professor of management. I teach mostly business ethics courses, and as an associate dean, I support the work of the dean in trying to make the School of Business the best school it can be. So we're excited that you're with us tonight, and I'm excited that we have many of our faculty on this presentation who are excited to talk with you as well.
Great, thank you so much. If we'll have Dr. or Professor Jeter share a little bit about herself with us, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm Stephanie Jeter, and I just love the experience I get with working with students. So that's the thing that I really do, work with students, help them, be successful and just help them navigate through life. But every now and then, I guess you'll find me teaching accounting, auditing, and finance in the midst of working with such wonderful students. So thank you for being here tonight, students.
Amazing, thank you. And as we go through our event today, I would just encourage you guys that are watching to drop some questions into our Q&A box down below. And as these professors introduce themselves, figure out, what do I want to ask you? And you can be my teacher, my professor in the semester to come. So get those questions brewing and put them down below. Next, we'll have Professor Ken Kadarian introduce himself. Professor, you're muted.
Sorry about that, My name is Ken Kadarian. I'm a professor of accounting. I teach advanced accounting, forensic accounting, international accounting, anything that related with accounting. So really exciting to hear you are interested in the School of Business. Hopefully some of you are interested in accounting, you'll have questions about accounting. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. If we could have Dr. Bodell introduce herself, that'd be amazing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Bodell, doctor, professor, whatever. I usually respond. I think I'll start with interesting facts. I have 3 university degrees from 3 different countries. Most people find that startling. And I teach consumer behavior, principles of marketing, and global marketing management, sales and sales management. I am definitely a marketing professor. I think one of my favorite research projects I'm doing right now is I'm writing a book for Emerald Publishing on ethical marketing in the fashion and beauty industry. So that is definitely an industry I've worked in and done some research in and I'm obsessed with. So I'm excited to be here and help answer questions.
Awesome, thank you so much, so incredible. Dr. Common, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually new faculty, started this year. So I taught in the fall and I'm teaching this spring. And I teach international business, strategic management, and quality management. And I'm actually not alone in this. I am actually one of several of our professors who spent quite a bit of time in industry. So I had almost 26 years in industry and still have a lot of connections there with, maybe the types of jobs these can roll into, or maybe types of places that we can work. And some of the situations that actually come into the real textbook. So, we take the textbook and we have some real application from that industry. But I've also taught for about 6 years, and now I'm here teaching at APU. I love the international business, strategic management, as well as actually all of my time was in quality management. Quite a bit of it was international. So I've got some of that I pull from. One of the things that we've been having really a lot of fun in is in the international business. We now have an international business colloquium. So even virtually, we meet across countries and schools, and partner with other schools in other countries for some kind of that international experience, even in this virtual environment. So that's really fun. So yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you more about it, but we're having a lot of fun. And as far as, even the selection of APU, looking at different schools, one of the things I think, really stood out to me when I came here was, first of all, a good Christian university. Second of all, is a good academic university. And third, a university of inclusion. Those three things really stand out. So very exciting about the opportunities here. Look forward to talking to you more.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And the next two individuals, you guys are probably going to work with the most on the administrative side. So if we could have Marissa Young and then Katrina Abbott introduce themselves next, that'd be amazing.
Thank you, Lucille. Yeah, welcome. We're really excited to have each and every one of you here with us, interested in our in all of our programs. And so I'm Marissa Young, Director of Student Engagement. I help students like yourselves, that are prospective students interested in our program. So if you have any questions at the end of the session, I'll be glad to leave my email. And I also help students with career development. So current students, we work on career fairs. We have a lot of various employers that are looking for our students for internships and job opportunities. So I'm going to be that person that connects you to those great folks out there. And then alumni as well. So kind of the spectrum is from beginning to end. I'll help connect you to other alum and get you involved in some networking opportunities here on campus. Welcome.
Hi, my name's Katrina Abbott. So excited to have you guys here and so excited that you're interested in APU. I'm the program coordinator for the Leung School of Accounting. I've been with APU for about 3 years now, and I've been in this role for about 10 months. I handle everything from scholarship, scheduling, our Meet the Firms event with accounting and program advisement, as well as alumni engagement. So I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and working with you soon.
Awesome. And that Meet the Firms event is an incredible one. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that. Next, students, just so you're aware, we have our sweet Ashley and wonderful Melissa here, real life students that go to APU, and they're going to share a little bit about their experience. But I would love for you guys that are watching to drop some questions for them. What do you want to know? And so, Ashley, if you could introduce yourself first, and then Melissa, that'd be wonderful.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a junior in undergrad, and I'm a business management major and honors humanities major, and also an accounting minor. So I can talk about that if you have questions about all those things. I work in the School of Business under Marissa and Katrina, so that's been really fun this semester. And then I'm also a TA in the Honors College.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Lingerfeld. So I graduated May 2020 with my Bachelor of Science in Accounting. And right after that, I transitioned right into the Master of Professional Accountancy. So I have a unique perspective. I've done undergrad and I've done grad at APU. And the program I'm currently in is for accounting. I'm working towards becoming a CPA. So if you have any specific accounting related questions, I can definitely bring a student perspective to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, students. We are so thankful for all of you for being here today. What we're going to do is we're all going to log off real quick, and Marissa Young is going to be the one that's going to lead you guys in her brief presentation. I want to encourage you, ask all the questions you possibly have in the Q&A down below. All of these faculty are here for you. So any question that you need to get answers to, today is the day, whether it's internships, scholarships, you name it, these guys are ready for you. So go ahead and take it away, Marissa, and then we'll be back soon.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and log in 1 sec. All right. So again, welcome to the School of Business, our Academic Connect for today. I'm going to go over just a few. I'm going to try to be as brief as I possibly can because there's so many faculty here to answer your questions, and we have students, and there's so many people that I do want you to be able to talk to. But there are a few things that I feel are important for all students that are interested in the School of Business to know. So let's go ahead and move forward. So the school, our mission statement is we are a Christ-centered community of scholars and professionals pursuing academic excellence to advance the work of God in the world, developing students of character and competence as difference makers in business and society. Our brand promise, which is really important to remember because this kind of translates and transcends all of the courses that you're going to take, and that's cultivating you as difference makers who transform how business works. Why SBM? Now, there's a million reasons why, and again, I'm keeping it brief, so all of our faculty and our students and our staff that are on are going to give you a million reasons why SBM, or the School of Business here at APU, is a very unique program and opportunity for you. But a couple of things that I want to mention is the opportunity to make a difference. And again, we focus on difference makers. Every one of your faculty members is not just getting you to pass a course or just quickly get through the program, but they're investing inside of you various traits and skill sets so that you can go out into the world and really be that difference maker. Again, some of the most important things that a lot of our students want to know is, what is the return on your investment? Because if you're business minded and you're interested in business, that's probably a question that you've already asked. Am I going to get the best education, and so that I can then do the best for my life later? Something that we focus on is education to vocation. So getting you jobs, right? And again, I mentioned the career fairs and different things, which I'll go into in just a minute as well. Real world experience. Dr. Kamen mentioned that a lot of our faculty, including himself, have real world experiences that they'll be sharing with you. And also that the type of curriculum is real world based. So you'll have a lot of different case studies and so forth, that you'll be prepared in that capacity. And then connections with business community. I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of various institutions and organizations, JPL, Kaiser Permanente, Disney, a lot of big names that come to the School of Business specifically here at APU because of the quality of students that have gone forth and have made, kind of paved the way for all of our students because they've done so well. Some quick facts: we have over 1,000 undergrad business students. That number actually may be a little off, but it's around 1,000. 300 plus graduate business students, MBA, MBM, MAC, which is the accounting. 92% of our faculty have terminal degrees, meaning they're PhDs. And then we are fully accredited. We have 8 different majors and 6 minors. And this is important for you to know because I think there was a question, and I'm sorry, Lucille, I'm going ahead, but I did see a question that said something like, are freshmen required to choose their specific major in the beginning? Let me say this: you can rest assured that you're going to have an opportunity to taste all of these majors. So you're going to be able to learn a little bit about econ, entrepreneurship, finance. No matter what major you choose, you'll have, like I said, you'll be able to learn a little bit of each of these like some of these subjects because of this. All of our programs share a common 39 core units. That again means if you choose finance, you'll still take Dr. Bodell's wonderful accounting courses. If you choose business econ, you'll still take some of Dr. Kadarian's accounting courses, which means that gives you an opportunity to explore various majors. I focus on accounting just to say accounting is the only major currently that has scholarships available. And I'm going to leave this topic for Dr. Kadarian and Katrina, who work in accounting, to talk to you about that. But there are a lot of scholarship opportunities where you can earn, even as a freshman coming in, from 1,000 to 15,000 per academic year. It will require you to have above a 3.5 GPA, but it is stackable on any other scholarships that you have. All right, so 6 SBM minors. Now, let's say that you say, I want to be a marketing major because it's what I really like to do, but I want a minor in accounting because I think that it's important for any business owner to, or any business person to learn accounting, and you'll be able to get those fundamentals. So you can choose a business major and a business minor, and you can, set those however it makes sense for you and what your interests are. So again, going back to those 39 units, you have the business core, which gives you the opportunity for the first, I believe, about year and a half to explore all the different business majors. So you can choose a major now and change it. Trust me, a lot of people do. You'll get here in the School of Business, the essential business fundamentals, because you'll have, again, you're not coming in just to be an accountant. You'll have marketing and all these other essential fundamentals that you'll take with you. So essentially, it's your business core plus your focus area. The biggest thing I can say that is important for all of our students is to have your 4-year plan. So advising is going to be key. We have dedicated advisors that will walk you through your entire program. You're never going to be alone. We're here to walk with you. Second, you are able to take business courses in your freshman year. So no, you're not just focused on general education. And last, I would say, again, plan ahead. Your professors are here. The advisors are here to work with you. That's going to be very, very important. We do have study away options, which currently, due to COVID-19, are not in session, but just we're hoping and praying that once that settles in the world, we'll have these opportunities. Some of the previous trips that we had, we sent students to Europe, to China. So APU has a lot of opportunity. Hear from our faculty, you will do that. So we'll skip this session. I do want to just touch on one other thing. Sorry, we got to skip through these. All right, internship opportunities. So again, I mentioned this in the very beginning. We have companies like Kaiser, Target, Nordstrom. We recently had the IRS, we had the FBI, we had in our fall, we had a fall career fair. We had so much JPL, a lot of big names that literally come to us knocking on our door specifically to ask for our students because they've done such a great job. And there's a lot of opportunities for you to connect. So we have a great number of student clubs where you'll be able to connect with other students as well. I believe that is it. And I know I went very quickly, but again, I want to leave a lot of time for our professors and for the Q&A. Please write down this email, sbmstu@apu.edu. Should you have any questions, you can always reach us there. And a very easy website address to remember is apu.edu/business. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marissa. What we'll do is we'll welcome back all of our faculty and our staff and our students. And we've got some questions coming in. And so for those of you that are viewers, I got to kind of look through the chat there. I would encourage you guys, put some questions in here, ask some specifics, details about classes, internships, their professors' experience. You want to know what your professors have done and in their professions in the world, so ask away. So we're going to go ahead and kind of kick off our questions here that we have. Thank you so much, Marissa, for presenting. One of the first questions that we have that I would love for Ashley to answer is, what's it like being in the Honors College and being in the School of Business? Could you give us a little bit insight to what that experience has been for you?
Yeah, so I really love that combination because when I first came in, I wasn't sure if I was going to do business or what I wanted, but I was afraid that I would get stuck into one of these categories because business and humanities can be very different. And so I just thought it was a great opportunity if you kind of are a writer or like those kind of humanity topics, it actually fits in super well to business too, because you're looking at people and looking at how you're going to manage them. And so I didn't find it difficult, even though it sounds scary to have 2 different majors at the same time. And the main reason for that is because that the Honors College allows you to get rid of your GEs and move them into the honors major instead. So you're actually only doing about 30 units for that major versus most majors are about 50 to even 70 units. And so it's not a huge major and it takes away GEs, which makes it super manageable. And yeah, I really love the experience of both of them.
Amazing. Great. Thank you so much. Well, I'd love to kind of add a little piece of that with our faculty, if you guys are willing. When you're looking at students coming out of undergrad and they're coming out with this humanities School of Business degree, is that something that's marketable for you guys? Would you hire that person and why? And feel free, any faculty member can lead into that question.
Absolutely, I would hire. This is Professor Jeter. And so I would absolutely hire. And my why is because that person has the soft skills and what's considered like the technical. And one of the things that we talked about earlier, Professor Common actually mentioned it, about the fact that this is a Christian experience, as well as it's an excellent academic experience and inclusive. So what I'm thinking about is that person presents their humanity side and their business side. It's a holistic person I'm encountering as they interact with me. And that's what we focus on here, is developing and expanding and nurturing that unique whole person. And so that's absolutely why I would hire that person, because they're bringing their whole self and expressing them whole selves and not just cubbyholed into one area.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think that's so important for those of you that are watching. This is great news, right? It's marketable. People will hire you with a double degree like that. Great. All right. Next question we have for all of our accounting faculty, staff, and students in the room. What are the benefits of getting a CPA? I believe Dr. Kadarian can answer that.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'm very biased about accounting and CPA, obviously. Let me give you background. I came to the United States as a foreign student, didn't speak English. I thought accounting was easy because it's all numbers. Come to find out that it's basically numbers, but at the same token, you are dealing with a lot of people's very secretive, confidential information, accounting. Two things that people kind of worry about sharing their experiences with you: their health and their finances. So it's fascinating to be a CPA because it's known worldwide. It's a trademark. You know, you can go to China, you're a CPA, they know exactly what they're talking about. Now, they may not know APU. They may, in Scandinavia, they may not know what APU is, but they know what a CPA is. They know what a CPA is in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in South Africa. It's a trademark. Basically, you are distinguishing yourself from your peers. You can get an accounting degree, not a CPA, maybe, but you cannot sell yourself. You cannot market yourself. That's an awesome advantage you have as a CPA. You can work anywhere in the world. I worked in 42 countries. So being a CPA was an awesome advantage for me.
And from a student perspective, I actually came into APU uncertain about what I wanted to do. I had no clue what major I wanted to take part in. And it wasn't until my sophomore year that I actually started taking business core classes and going the business route, because I realized there's a ton of different great opportunities in the School of Business. And so I would try my hand at all of those. And it wasn't until I got into principles of accounting that I really found that was the perfect fit for me. And I went into it kind of blind at first. I knew nothing about accounting. And so I sat down with my academic advisors. I spoke to them, and pretty early on, it was clear that I wanted to make a run for a CPA. And so from the start, that's what I planned academically. I knew that I wanted to do 4 years, get my Bachelor of Science in accounting, and then right away go into my master's. As you're looking into the CPA, you'll realize there's different things you have to do, for example, 150 academic hours. So that's why I'm in the program I am now. I didn't want to squeeze that all into undergrad, even though that's an option. I knew I wanted to just continue on right away, do my master's, further my education. And so that was something I planned way back in sophomore, my undergrad year. And I was able to get hired without it, but talking to my employer now, the reason I'll be able to be promoted and work my way up is because I'm aiming to work for that CPA, and I will have that certification for the future.
By the way, she was my student. She was sitting in front of me. Principles of accounting.
She was my student too. She's an excellent marketing student as well.
Thank
They
you.
go hand in
Amazing.
hand. You still got to market the services.
Amazing,
That's
great
right.
questions. To kind of continue to caveat off accounting, do you need advanced math to place into accounting?
Okay, accounting is not math. I'm horrible in math, okay? So my wife is the mathematician. So she's horrible in accounting. So no, it's not. If you know how to add, subtract, divide, and multiply, you're in good shape.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for all of your perspective on that. We'd love to hear about scholarshiping in just a few minutes, but students, continue to pop your questions into the Q&A and we'll keep rolling through them. Real quick, we'll move into our next question we have, and what jobs do business management majors usually have? And that's pretty broad of a question, but can you guys give us some really specific answers?
Sure, I'd love to take on that a little bit. So, I think that the one thing that you'll see in industry is you'll see that the business major provides the opportunity for a lot of the different management positions, a lot of the different marketing and sales roles, are really even purchasing, all of the different, I would say, kind of higher level functions of the organization come through some type of a management track. And, we used to have engineers, as an example, that would come in with a very good skill set, and they would be very adept at what they did. And because they were good, they wanted to be promoted. And quite honestly, the answer was, can you go back and get, at least an MBA, or can you go back and get some business education to basically support that? Because you understand basically the supply and the demand, you understand the human factors and management, and you understand a lot of the marketing and all the different pieces that go with it. So it really is in most industries, the business majors are the kind of the drivers and the better jobs in those roles. So I think that really it's a pretty broad answer, because it's a big field there. And I think one thing about APU too is with having those professors, myself and others who have come from industry, we've highlighted that a couple times. There are schools that, really all of their academics are truly that. They're researchers, and a TA is teaching your class, and you're going through those circumstances, and you may or may not necessarily, you get a lot of theory and maybe not really the good tools to apply it. In our classes, a lot of our discussion is real world examples, case studies, and actually having conversation about how you would actually go about doing this.
If I can add to Dr. Common's remarks, managers basically manage either people or resources. And so virtually any opportunity to manage a group of people, whether it's in a retail store, whether it's in a nonprofit organization like a missions organization or a church, or human resource, those are all management type roles. And many of our students are in jobs like that right now. And then there's management of resources. Many of the managers are overseeing major projects, they're overseeing budgets, they're overseeing the opportunity to build things. And so quite frankly, management is very general, because you need a manager in almost every area of life, whether it's healthcare, whether it's sports, whether it's business related. So managers really have an opportunity in a variety of careers, and we have students that have done all kinds of management things in the working world, and that's why management is our most popular major. By far, we have more management students than any other major in the school. So just a plug for the managers. Even though I agree with Dr. Kadarian, accounting is an amazing field as well. I do represent management, so does Dr. Common, and we think management is also a terrific opportunity.
Wonderful, thank you for sharing. To kind of make that really specific to Ashley, what kind of career are you looking for with your degree?
So as of right now, that's the nice thing is actually I don't have it set in stone, but that doesn't matter as much because like they said, there's so many different options that I could go into. But as of right now, I do want to go into city government, which is interesting because you think that's so different from business, but actually a city can kind of run like a government version of a business. And so it's cool to see that even getting out of the business world, you can still use your business management degree and go into that.
Amazing, great insight. Thank you for sharing. And just want to
Lucille,
remind
can
you,
I
students,
say something from a professor perspective about Ashley? You know, students in the audience, it is wonderful when we as professors hear you say what you want to do, and then you apply what you learn in our classes. I remember the experience with Ashley, and she was sharing experiences that she had with working with her family and working with, you know, her parents. And it really brings us so much joy when you find what you love and then you apply it every day you come to class. And it doesn't have to be an application right to the problem. It could just be an application to life. And so please find yourself and keep searching.
awesome. Thank you so much for adding that, Dr. Jeter. That's amazing. One other question that we have is, tell us about internships for international students. So if you guys have any ideas, and that can be from anyone, right, in the School of Business, let us know, you know, what are some internships for international students?
Well, it depends on which country we're talking about. It's going to be a visa issue. Well, if you're an international student, as an ex-international student myself, you automatically get F1 visa extension for 6 months. And then you can renew it another 6 months. So you got 1 year you can work after you finish your degree. Now, from an accounting perspective, you know, we have like the big four, they come and recruit our students, Ernst & Young, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC. So those are international accounting firms. So they can take you as an intern in the Los Angeles office with the understanding that, let's say you're from Germany, you would go back after a year, hoping that you pass the CPA exam within 1 year, that year, and then go back to be a accounting staffer in Frankfurt or in Paris or in London. So that's how it works for international. But for domestic students, it's the internship is ample as far as accounting is concerned. We do have Meet the Firm, and somebody mentioned earlier, in September, third week in September, all the firms, accounting firms, and large, medium, small size accounting firms come in and recruit our students. Almost 85 to 90% of our students to get jobs during that period. Now, during that period also, you can interview for internships. You'll say, I'm not interested in permanent position because I'm still a junior, but here I am. I like to do this summer as intern, and hopefully, if you like me, you'll hire me. And most of the time, that's what happens.
Amazing. Are there other departments or professors within the school that would like to share international opportunities, whether they can go international for internships within, whether it's marketing or it's entrepreneurship, that you guys would like to share?
I mean, I can say the same thing for the others too. The same idea. The F1 visa works, and then you can work for IBM in sales department. That don't sell anything anymore. Let's say you work for Caterpillar in Illinois, and then you can transfer their manufacturing plants in China or in Thailand. So similar idea, different career specific.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. All right. We have one question specifically about forensics accounting. Can you briefly explain what that is?
Forensic accounting is fascinating. I was just teaching forensic accounting, and I got an excuse to be here so I can talk about forensic accounting. Thank you for asking that question. Forensic accounting is, there are 537 CPAs in the FBI. Why they are there? Well, the FBI has basically 50% of the FBI workforce are either CPAs or accountants and attorneys. So what happens basically, the other half is you got the SWAT teams, the tactical teams, and then you have the forensic ballistics and polymer experts and what have you. Now, from a forensic accounting perspective, there are two things happening. Number one, there's a lawsuits happen, and then two attorneys are arguing over the plaintiff and defendant. They want to see a number. How much they lose? How much did they steal from the other partner? Divorce cases. I do a lot of divorce cases where husband and wife, fairly wealthy, they file for a divorce, and then the husband has been basically playing games with the numbers and trying to follow the money to see how much the wife is been cheated. So we are experts. CPAs are licensed CPAs in the state of, my mind is state of California, or any other state, that you represent your client as an expert witness. You talk about where the money started and where the money ended up, and how did I come up with this conclusion. I have to show the forensic. For what does forensic means? Legal. Okay, what's the legal documentation I have to prove my point? So forensic is in the court cases. Forensic would be in any kind of investigation for fraud, bribery, and situations where the company's losing money. They don't understand why. Sales going up, for some reason, net income's going down. So what's going on? So you look at it very analytically, very specific as to why we're losing the money. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Accountant. Anyway, if you haven't, look at it. That's an interesting perspective of a forensic accountant. So he took the assets, and he took the sales going up, but the net income's going down. What's going on? To find out there's some expenses that are really going out of hand. So it's very analytic and very rewarding. You're helping people.
Amazing. Thank you so much for those details. It's a great picture to paint. It helps make it really clear for us. And that accounting movie is a really good one if you haven't seen it. So I'd encourage you to check that out. The next question we have is, what is the difference between an international business major and a business administration major? And would there be select job qualifications for each major?
Well, I can start that, and anybody can jump in that wants to, but there's certainly a few courses that we offer that are different, but I want to talk a little bit more about maybe the focus. And I think what's interesting is that a lot of times business majors, we actually have some of the international business courses in all of, as far as core, even in some of the business admin and management. And the reason is I think a lot of us we found that we are actually in a very globalized and interconnected world. And so very quickly you end up realizing the fact that, wow, my supply chain is actually significantly importing, or in marketing, maybe I've got an international market. Or maybe you end up with a satellite facility in some country. So quite often you will end up in some of those scenarios. So we try to prepare you a little bit throughout all of the programs. But that said, when you really are, that is your desire, you want to actually have an opportunity to work for a global company, potentially put yourself in an expatriate situation where you're actually maybe sent for an assignment abroad, or maybe you're specifically looking at some type of import or export, then I think that really concentration is a good choice. But in all of the cases, the courses, I think, prepare us for the fact that we are in a very globalized and interconnected world. And international business is one of the more dynamic aspects of management. So management in itself, from 10 years ago to now, changes a little bit. Accounting maybe changes a little bit, but international business, just in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had Brexit, we've had Trump with tariffs, we've had COVID going on right now. We have so many dynamic interrupters, if you would, of this interconnected world that we live in, and so it's a very dynamic world, and that makes it fun.
If I can add to Dr. Common's comments, from a perspective of the actual program that you study, all of our business majors take a common core, as Marissa presented in the presentation. And then each of the majors has a group of specialized courses depending upon the major. So for example, accounting has 7+ accounting electives. If you're a marketing major, you'll take the core plus 7 marketing related courses. When it comes to international business, you'll take the core and 7 related international business courses, such as international trade and finance or international marketing. Whereas the management degree has the same core, but in order for you to complete that degree, you need 9 additional units, which would be 3 courses that are management related. So there are basically 2 different programs of study, but the common core is the same for both degrees. So you could actually pursue a management major, and then if you wanted to do international business, you could simply add the 7 international business electives, and you would end up with an international business degree. So they're very similar in terms of coursework. In terms of job opportunities, we certainly encourage our students to pursue international opportunities if they decide to be an international business major. So things like international or internships overseas, or as Dr. Kamen mentioned, experiences with import-export, those kinds of things really add to the degree experience and prepare our students for a career in international business. It's also really important if you speak an additional language, because most employers are looking for graduates. If they're going to work in international business, they can speak another language as well. But either degree program prepares you for business, but you do have options to go international if you decide that while you're completing your program that you need additional courses that focus on international studies.
Dr. Kadarian, you're muted.
Yes. Just to add to the comments that were made, I mean, anything you can take it international. Human resources, international. Engineering, international. Accounting, international. Management, international. The common denominator, if I may, correct me if I'm wrong, is the language. If you speak a foreign language, it's a great desirable thing to have on your resume. Now, you know, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Arabic, those are all languages that people do business in. If you have any one of those languages, any language is a plus. So you're competing with your peers. If there's a language advantage, you're good. You're doing better than good.
That's amazing and so incredible to have, to hear that out loud. I wish I would have practiced more language more thoroughly when I was a student as well. So great question. I'd love to.
Lucille,
Yes, of
just
course.
one thing too I think if I'm understanding a little bit too about the question, the application process in terms of like business administration versus international business, the question could be expanded to the application process versus accounting, business administration, marketing. You could just expand it to all majors. But the common denominator, I think, that employees are looking for right now is adaptability. So whatever you put on that application, whether it's for international business or for marketing or for accounting, you need to demonstrate adaptability.
Cultural adaptability when you're going overseas. Yeah.
Yes, cultural adaptability. And I'll add the one other thing too, is I never worked for a single employer in industry where if you put the tick in the box that said you're willing to relocate anywhere without any strings attached, that was always a win-win for the employer, because then it gives them some mobility. So having some of those skills and some of that adaptability you mentioned is true.
And you make a lot of money internationally because up to $106,000 is tax-free. Think about it. So if your husband and wife go overseas, $212,000 is tax-free. Whatever money you make overseas as a salary, up to $106,000 per person is tax-free. So think about it. If you're from California, you're making an automatic $40,000 right there.
That's amazing. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, everyone. I do have a question for Katrina, and I know this is one that's typically asked a lot as we get a little bit farther in the application process from our students, is, what do scholarships look like in the School of Business? And I know specifically accounting is a really well scholarship program. So if you could kind of pour a little bit into that, that'd be so great. And then if anyone else has input for the different the different specific majors within School of Business that have scholarshiping, we'd love to hear about that as well.
Yeah. So for our scholarships range from 1,000 to up to 15,000 per semester year. So for incoming freshmen, if any of you are incoming freshmen, if you have a 3.5 GPA or higher, you'll receive a $1,000 scholarship as long as you're enrolled in our Principles of Financial Accounting, Accounting 120. If you are a sophomore or above, if you have a 3.0, 3.5 to 3.75, you can receive up to 7,000, and it goes on up to 3.75 to 4.0, you can receive up to 15,000. And for students like who are accounting minors, you can receive up to 5,000 per year with a cumulative GPA of a 3.5. And for our graduate students, if there's any graduate students on here, you can receive up to $5,000. And all of that is stackable. So if you are a undergraduate and you're interested in our graduate program, you can take some accounting classes as a undergrad, and you can take those as an undergrad with undergrad price. At the undergrad price. And then once you transfer over to our MAC program, you really save so much money in between, and then adding on to that are scholarships. And I don't know, Melissa, you could kind of tap into that too as a student and receiving scholarships as well. But that's a lot of our scholarship details. And there's a little more, if anyone's interested, please feel free to email me and I can answer those questions as well.
I can definitely attest to that, being a student. I went into it, I was undeclared, but after finally decided on accounting my sophomore year, I put in a lot of hard work in keeping your GPA up in those classes as you go on. It's really, really rewarding because the scholarship continues up with you as you get into more like advanced accounting courses. And so that was really what enabled me to be able to go to APU. So it's such a blessing. And now that I'm in the master's program, I'm actually doing like work study. So I'm a Young School of Accounting fellow. And so I'm able to work and help pay for my master's. So there's also opportunities like that. And yeah, just a ton of stuff that has really helped ensure that I'm able to be at APU.
So if you play your cards correctly, 4 years, you could get up to $40,000. That's almost the 1 year off. Think about it. And also that's stackable. You can get Cal grants, you can do Cal grants. Do we have other scholarships? CLA is giving $2,000 for veterans. We have another one, the KPMG has a $5,000 scholarship for students of Latino background with leadership qualities and good GPA. So there are a lot of interesting scholarship here and there, but $40,000, if you play your cards properly with a proper GPA, you can get 25% off basically.
Great, thank you for the insight. A follow-up question to that, and maybe, I'm not sure if Marissa or Katrina could answer this, but if a student doesn't qualify for a scholarship right now, say they become a sophomore and they're applying, can their GPA then make them eligible for a scholarship in the School of Business?
Yeah, definitely.
Great, awesome. Hope that answers your question. So the one that asked that, you could qualify. So if you're not in that place right now, work really hard your freshman year at APU, and hopefully come that sophomore year, you'll be awarded a scholarship. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all of the questions in regards to the scholarshiping, and that's a big piece that we have. A second question I want to ask is for Dr. Common. The question says that you're the newest faculty member on this panel that we have here. From the other places that you've taught, what distinguishes APU from wherever else you've been, and why would someone choose to either teach or study at Azusa?
Yeah, awesome question. Yeah, so I think, one thing that has really impressed me about APU, or I'll maybe say two things. One is the fact that, we are a Christian university with deliberate faith integration, but what I see so much of is the fact that you have an actual holistic shaping of an individual. And I think I'm borrowing a term that Dr. Jeter used. But when we take that kind of really holistic preparation, so it isn't just a matter of going to school and maybe learning just some of scripture and so forth and so on, but actually how to apply that and how it actually integrates into maybe the ethics that you're working with, or the particular international setting that you're in, the cultural awareness dynamics, all of the different pieces, and how well that integrates. I think they do one of the better jobs at that, and it's actually really, really fun. And I wish that I'd had the opportunity and been an alumni from that, because when I got forced out into some international settings and faced with some situations, I wish I would have been through some of the conversations that we have now in my classroom. So I think it would have been some good preparation. The second thing that I think that really stands out is, I think that there are Christian universities, and then you have certain universities with defined, I guess you would say, inclusion goals and so forth and so on. You have your HBCUs and so forth and so on. But we are a minority serving university, and we are, I think the inclusion in that Christian setting is really a welcoming atmosphere, and really a solid place where it can be a true university of choice. You can choose it because it's a Christian university, and you chose to go there for that reason. You can choose it to go there because of the fact that it's got a high academic standard and it's a private university, and you're going to get a good education with a solid result in employment, placement. And the third thing of it is it's an inclusive university with, I think, a lot of really good programs and dynamics in that way. So those three things really stood out to me as being distinctives of this university, and I've enjoyed those.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I would say, yeah, if you're looking at inclusion, we have all our stats online. We're sitting above 60% when it comes to the ethnic diversity on campus. So that's amazing. Great question. One I do have that was the last question that we're going to be able to answer from our audience. And then I'd love to ask faculty a question a little bit about how their faith interacts. But the last question that we have from our students is for the School of Business. What counseling support services do you guys offer that are outside of what the university might offer within our counseling center? So do you offer any counseling support services? Maybe Marissa could take that on, or Dr. Ron Joo, if you're able to take that on, that'd be great.
Well, we have a staff member that is dedicated to student success. And quite frankly, it's unique in our university. Not all the schools and colleges have a dedicated staff member that focuses on student success. And her role, quite frankly, is to help you pick the right courses, to make sure you're on track to graduate or accomplish your academic goals. And she works individually with each student in the School of Business to make sure that they are on track to graduate on time and complete the program. If they want to change majors, if they have questions about minors, she's able to respond and facilitate all those choices and decisions. In addition to that, our faculty are very, very open to interact with students, and you can reach out to them via email. You can set up Zoom conferences and office hours with respective faculty that either you're taking classes from or you're interested in a particular discipline. And they are delighted when any of our students reach out and say, hey, how do I get an internship in this? Or what kind of career could I expect if I pursue this degree program? Or can you help me out with this project that I'm working on? Or other issues that our students encounter during the course of a semester. What makes APU special is, I believe, that we're student focused, and that we are excited when a student reaches out for mentoring, for advising, for any type of counseling or encouragement, because we feel that this is our calling. This is why we are here. And that, quite frankly, separates us from other universities where sometimes the faculty are so involved in research or they're so involved in other kinds of things, they really don't have time for their students. Whereas we really give a priority for our students because we really want each of you to succeed and we are dedicated to your success. So again, we have a dedicated staff member, we have faculty that are willing to come alongside and support and guide you, as well as the students on this call. We have student organizations that are willing to help their fellow students succeed because they've already taken some of the classes or they've already experienced some of the challenges of being at a university. And we have great students that help each other out so that everyone succeeds at APU and particularly in the School of Business.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I do have a question for Dr. Jeter, and it'll be one of our faith-based type of questions I'd love for our audience to hear is, how does your faith inform your teaching? If you could share a little bit about what that looks like for you, we'd love to hear about it.
Well, you know, I'm just got to keep it real here. Girl, honey, boy, whoever you want to be right now, this is how it is. Life hits us as faculty, just like life hits you as students. So my faith starts with life and navigating through life in the midst of trying to be and represent Christ in the classroom and in my life. So my faith starts with, how do I navigate through the stressors of life? So it starts there. The second way my faith is involved is because APU requires us as faculty members to use faith to inform how we teach about whatever discipline it is we specialize in. So Professor Coleman will be using faith to inform the way he teaches international business or management. Same with Dr. Joo. And then Professor Kadarian will be using faith to inform how he teaches about forensic accounting. And so that is what we are required to do. And quite frankly, as Dr. Joo said earlier, we wouldn't be here if that is not what we love to do. So just strike requirement for a moment and say, that's what we love to do. And then finally, the way faith informs me personally is that I like to use the 3 C's. The first C is conviction. And the scripture that kind of underlines that is Ephesians, because I feel like we're always in that warfare. So we got to put on the armor of God, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in management, whether you're in human resources, whether you're in Arabia, wherever you are, you've got to have on the armor. So we've got to have something that convicts us, and putting on that armor helps us to stay convicted. The second C is character. And the foundational scripture for character is Daniel 6:4. And that's something that was born out of the research of another professor who in our accounting school that said the research suggests that accountants get in trouble for lack of character and lack of competence. So those are the last 2 C's. So conviction, character, and competence are what I really use in the classroom to help us make decisions in business.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I'd love to end with our advice, right? What kind of advice do you want to give the students? And so I'm going to begin with Melissa and Ashley. If you guys could share one real world tool that you've gotten from this program that you're going to take out into the world with you, that'd be great. And then some advice for the students, and then we'll move to our faculty.
I can start off. One real world tool that comes to my mind right off bat was actually not from one of my accounting classes, but a marketing class that I did have with Rachel Bodell, where we really focused on our LinkedIn and our professional headshots and our resume, just very like practical tools for networking. And when you go out to get a job, we focused on it. We went through, like drafted it, got her help on it, advice. And when I went to my first internship in Houston and was actually working, they sat me down and said, we want to look at your resume and help you with it. And I brought out that resume and they looked at it and said, oh, it's actually like great. It looks amazing. It's ready to go. And so I think that just shows how well APU preps you just practically to go out and have a career. My LinkedIn, like employers are able to see that and see how professional it looks. And it really just helps you prep for getting a job and for being in the professional world.
I think the big tool that I got was actually from Marissa Young's class that I took, and it was personal finance. And so it was just, the entire class was so practical because it's about how individually you deal with your finances, how to get a Roth IRA, so like a retirement account, how to set up your finances so that you can have what you want and also be saving for what you need in the future. So that was just a great class that I would highly recommend taking. One advice I would say is just to interact in your classes, because I think that's an amazing thing about APU is you have the chance as a student to not just listen to a lecture, but you actually get to ask a question or you get to state what you think, and professors are there to have that dialogue. So I think, yeah, that's something I would encourage and something that your professors are going to encourage anyways. So
amazing, great insight. And then we'll just end with our faculty. If Dr. Common, you could give us a piece of advice for our students.
Well, I think, we talk a lot about majors and we talk a lot about the different choices and so forth and so on. But I think the first thing really is just, understanding the fact of, maybe that faith integration, maybe the direction that you want to go. Do you want to basically prepare yourself as a holistic student, where we've taught actual principles. And we talk about faith-based. I mean, it could be regardless of your faith, really. It could be the fact that we've taught you how to basically utilize your principles and your convictions in your work. And then additionally, we have, people from experienced industry that are teaching basically real world experience, as some of these students talked about, and how that's practical. But I think if you just decide to take that journey and have a direction, the reality of it is some of it will become apparent through the core. And then, I think a lot of it, there's always that balance. What am I going to make the best living at? And what is kind of my vocation and passion? And, some of us in our own lives, me included, I'm in academia now instead of industry, and that was a vocational change. But I think it's easier sometimes if you kind of rationalize and think through with your advisors some of maybe how to accommodate and scratch both of those a little bit as you're moving into it. And I think you'll have opportunity to do that as you get into your programs. So I wouldn't stress over a ton.
Great. And I'll just take one more faculty that's dying to share a piece of advice, if you will.
Hey, students, the ones that really stand out in the School of Business are those who get involved and go beyond. So regardless of where you go, make sure you jump into student organizations, make sure you take advantage of study away opportunities, make sure you attend any activities that are being offered for you to grow in terms of networking, in terms of interviewing, in terms of preparing yourself for the workforce. And then go beyond. Don't just take classes and fulfill the requirements, but get an internship. Do volunteer work, do missions, start your own business, build a portfolio, find a mentor, do all those things that really make you stand out. And regardless of where you're at, you are going to succeed. And we hope that it's APU that you choose, because we believe that if you get involved and you go beyond, you'll be a remarkable student that every employer is going to want to hire.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Joo. We thank you all for coming and being part of our event today. It is phenomenal to have this many faculty here to represent the School of Business, 2 incredible students, and all the staff support. I mean, it's amazing. So for those of you that are watching, these are the people who are going to be walking with you when you come to APU, who are going to help guide you through figuring out, where is it that I want to be in business? And, how do I do that? These are the people. So I do have a comment here I want to share with our panel, is that the student says, thank you for the great deal of assurance and support that you have offered. And please don't lose that spirit. It's been very helpful, especially in circumstances like what we see in our society today. So you guys are amazing and you're changing lives already. And we just are so thankful. So thank you so much for reaching out and being a part of our event. If you need anything, School of Business is available and ready to support you in your pursuit of a profession, of a university, and a major. And so thank you again. I hope all of you have a fabulous rest of your day and your evening wherever you are, and share this with your friends. It'll be uploaded to our site so you can share it again so people can watch it back if they have any questions, okay? Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
Bye.